Hello, 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 folks. How we doing? I hope everyone had a good day today. Happy Wednesday. We're going to get started here in about a minute and 30 seconds. How's everyone's day? Oh, wow. Real Scotty. Thank you so much for the resub. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you're having a great day, Scotty. Thank you. All right. Dia, talk about multitasking. Wow. All right. Well, hello, hello, everybody. Thank you again, Scotty, for the resub. And Dia, you're watching this. Oh, Tame Mister, thank you. Wow. Subscribe for 3 months. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Man. Thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you for Tame Mister and Real Scotty. Thank you again. Um, Dia, sorry. Fat cat. Whoa, what is going on? Y'all are just making my Wednesday. I tell you what. Ah, you subscribe with Prime too. So what we always say, whenever anybody subscribes or resubs or uses their Prime subscription, we are stopping Jeff Bezos from going back to space for another half second or so. So I'd say at this point, Jeff is probably at least delayed from going to space by like 30 minutes or so, which is a big accomplishment. Um, so he might have to sell his cowboy hat. Good job, everybody. All right. That's right. Use Jeff Bezos' money. Absolutely. And congrats, Dia, on watching this live from the elliptical machine at the gym. Amazing. Multitasking. That's the way to do it. Hey, real Scotty. Yeah, that 7 hour stream was a real beast. Longer than I intended, but that's usually what happens. Watch the VOD over the past couple days. Good. I'm glad you're spacing it out. Oh, hey, Rascal. What's up? How's it going? Were you doing more React stuff today, Rascal? Were you reactifying more things? I really enjoyed your last stream where you were reactifying stuff. That was super fun. Go subscribe to Rascal if you're not subscribed to them already. Um, they're a good sub. They always do. They always do. Go follow them. Sorry, you don't have to subscribe. Do whatever you want, but follow at least, because they do a lot of fun projects. Nice jacket. Oh, thanks. This thing is like I've had it since I was in college, and it's yeah, it's very well worn. I say that. Reactified the last of the front end projects and just got to rectifying the first full stack app. Wow, nice. You're going fast with all those, man. Hey, Logic, welcome to the stream. Oh, Matt, you're welcome. Got your float vid, the float vid. Yeah, that's been like my all-time classic, I think. I'm gonna have to redo it at some point. You know, revisit that topic and because that was the first one that I ever did that was recorded. And it was on Discord, and it was a little bit ad hoc, and so I'd love to revisit that topic someday. It helps so much. Oh, awesome! That's great to hear, Matt. Thank you. Hey, Elevate Victor, welcome to the stream. Hope your day is going well. Hey, Dove Puddle, welcome, welcome. Floats, what a throwback. I know, it feels like forever, right? Well, today we are doing what you might consider a little bit of a throwback here on stream. What we're going to do is um, revisit some of the string methods that Leon assigned. It's stuff we've done before, right? But we may not have done all of these string methods. And so he gave us 15 string methods that we're supposed to go through. We're going to describe what they do, how they work, and give some examples. And James asks on a SQL note. So, for those of you who are new to the stream, I'm a SQL dev for my day job, which is why they're asking. So, I'm going to SQL Saturday Boston on Saturday. Have you been to one of those? No, I haven't. I haven't heard of SQL Saturday. That sounds really fun. I'll have to see if there's one in my area. I'm in the Midwest. But if it's a regional thing, I think that sounds really fun. I'll have to look that up. Microsoft runs them. Oh, nice. Yeah, Microsoft is a big supporter of SQL. They have Microsoft SQL Server and T-SQL as their kind of flavor of the SQL language. All day free training. Ooh, free. The word free is right up my alley. Education should be free. And so if Microsoft is offering some free training, I think I'll definitely check it out. All right. But yeah, thank you for the heads up on that, James. I will check and see if there's one in my area. All right, let's flip over to the gameplay window here. And I don't know why it keeps like re-rolling all of my followers alerts again every time I switch view. I don't know why, so you're just gonna have to ignore that for a minute, or congratulate congratulate the new followers too. Up to you. All right, so what are we doing today? Well, we have a list of 15 string methods. The ones you can see them there here, they're highlighted in bright pink. And we're going to go through each of these, and we're just going to do a little bit of research. We're going to, look at the docs, do some examples, and really sort of dive deep into each of these methods, some of which we're probably really familiar with, right? But others we may not have used before, ever. And so I think it's important to get a good handle on all these and also practice Googling and researching a little bit as well. 2 notifications for the price of 1. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, but there's a new follower. Thank you, Coding Pizza. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so on VS Code right now, I'm actually using an extension called Better Comments, and I would highly recommend it. Better Comments is really great. It allows you to customize your comment colors in VS Code. So here, I can make this comment blue, this comment hot pink, bold, and underlined, and then these comments are gold. So you can really differentiate your comments, especially if your code is pretty complex. That can be really nice. And so I control the color and the formatting using just this whatever symbol I apply. So question mark, plus sign, or asterisk. So I'd highly recommend the Better Comments extension for VS Code. Oh, thank you, Pimp Daddy D. Nice. All right. I've used so many of these string methods for the Huntover coding challenges. It's good practice, yes. And that's another good point. Blah blah blah, our fearless, one of the fearless lead mods of the Discord and a great friend to 100 devs, is running the Huntover Twitter account and doing sort of like a month-long scavenger hunt on Twitter. And so definitely follow that Huntover Twitter account if you aren't following it already. I believe Leon linked to it in his last check-in tweet. So you can find it on the Follow Along Materials channel. It's the last check-in tweet. Be sure to follow that account which is run by Blah on Twitter. Blah is going to be leading sort of a scavenger hunt all through Huntober with string methods. And Tame Mister has linked directly to it. Thank you so much, Tame Mister. Definitely give that a follow. Yeah, the one for today was so fun. Yeah, Yeah, nice. I need to get into that. I looked at like day one today, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then I need to like actually catch up to the current day because we're already 5 days into the month, so I need to catch up. Okay, and also too today, I want this to be oh, and Tame Mister. Also, thank you so much for linking directly to the challenges. Obviously, go subscribe to the or go whatever follow the Twitter. But you can also get a direct link to Blah's blog right there in that link. Yeah, they're all building on each other because the goal for the month long challenge is to decode a secret message. And so each challenge I think is going to be building up to that. They're better than Code Wars. Nice. Well, remember too, we are supposed to be doing 5 string Code Wars as well. We're not going to do those today on stream. I want to focus on just Lee's methods, but um, yeah, the other assignment is to also do 5 string Code Wars. Sounds fun. Yeah, definitely. I think scavenger hunts are always fun, and so I think and the person running the scavenger hunt is also super fun just in themselves. So I think it'd be a fun challenge for us. And also too, I want this to be a chill stream today. We're just going to be kind of chilling, talking, researching. I don't know. We're not going to get through all 15 of these, but we're just going to go as far as we can. I think this is going to be kind of an ongoing sort of a assignment for us. So we're just going to go as far as we can, and also too, feel free at any point to ask questions just about anything, like whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to ask. It's all good. Doesn't have to be related to these string methods. Could be related to working in tech or getting a job or just my experience or like what I do with SQL or anything like that. This is going to be chill stream today. I'm feeling chill. So let's do that. What? Leon shouted me out on the Discord just now? Oh, man. Hang on. I got the Discord open in another window. Let me, oh boy. Hey, nice. Okay. Well, we're definitely working on string methods. But again, feel free to ask questions if you have them. Oh, Xena has redeemed for 25,000 channel points. Xenomorph has redeemed the challenge to rename a foster kitten, or to name a foster kitten. Sorry, not rename, to name a foster kitten. So I have one more foster kitten in my current litter who has not been named. And her name has now just been assigned as Aria. All right. Her name is Aria. Well, y'all since Xena has named Aria, y'all will get to see her after our first break or second break, probably after the first break at around 8 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, I'll bring her out and y'all can say hi to little Miss Aria. Hi everyone. Welcome everybody coming from the Discord. Good to see you all. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some string methods today. Now I gotta catch up with chat. Whoo boy. Oh, Micah, thank you so much for the resub. I really appreciate it. You resubbed with Prime. Let's delay Jeff Bezos's rocket from getting to space by another half second. So thank you so much, Micah. Make him sell his hat. Welcome, folks. First time tuning in, Pimp Daddy D. That's rad. Welcome to the stream. Yes, this video will go to YouTube, not immediately, but just like Leon does, after a couple weeks, this video will be on YouTube, so don't worry about that. I'm working on getting the last couple weeks of videos loaded to YouTube. I have to do a little configuration, but I just basically need to do a little tweaking and then publish them. So you're going to have the last couple weeks of VODs on YouTube as well here pretty soon, the next day or so. Been wanting to do this since Sunday. Nice. Kitty Cam, yeah, we will have Kitty Cam after the next break, absolutely. Orenzi, thank you so much. More Prime, man. Bezos ain't gonna be ain't gonna be able to afford to go to space at this rate. Oh. Hey, welcome, Groove Punk. How do you compile JS using Node.js? So you mean how do I run it in how do we run it in VS Code here? Is that what you're asking? Time is a weird soup. What resources do you recommend to learn SQL? So I learned SQL on the job, but there's a lot of great online resources that can help you. So I actually have an intro to SQL stream that I did a couple months ago, which I hold your hand. We go through the basics of SQL. Um, and I even give you the resources for an online sandbox where you can test SQL yourself. No setup required. You can just run commands and see what they do. So that is on my YouTube channel, exclamation point YouTube for a link to my YouTube channel. And yeah, really hold your hand through it. If you want to do self study, that's fine too. Um, there's resources out there such as SQL Bolt or W3 Schools has an introduction to a lot of basic SQL commands as well. So SQL Bolt, I think is a good one that I've heard a lot of people recommend. If you want to do, teach yourself, or feel free to watch my intro stream. I really I try to cover all the basics that would make you not make you look like you somewhat know what you're doing in an interview, um, and kind of cover those basics of the types of things that you might be asked in a job interview regarding SQL. Oh boy, okay, we are filling up here. Oh man, thank you, Topsalog. Thank you so much for the sub, new sub. Thank you so much, Topsalog. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day. Hey, MDC, welcome. Hey, Lord Coco, welcome. Hey, Code. Hey, Minbule. Hey, Amy Denzer. Hey, Remini. All right. Oh my goodness, we have a hype train. Wow. That hasn't happened in a while. Thank you, T'Challa. Great name. Thank you for the sub. And another Prime sub. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? I think I'm about caught up with chat. Um, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's look at some string methods, shall we? And like I said before, some of these we might already know, right? Some of these we might say, "Ah, I know how to use that," but have we ever really actually researched it and made sure that we understand what it does and how it does it? So let's get started. Let's just start at the top. So the first method is car at. Um, and so what do we think this does? Just top of the head type knowledge. What do we think that this does? What does car at do for us? Oh, thank you, Elfade. Return. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely, Let Hendrix. Yep. It tells us the character at a specific um, index. Yep. Character at index takes in an index and returns the character. Yeah, yeah. Right. So um, yeah, and I think that's a great way to describe it. Takes um, takes in an index and we need to tell it what string to look at, right? So it takes in an index and a string and returns the specific character located at that location. I'd say that's a reasonable description, right? Syrup asks, "Am I sitting or standing?" I am standing, because for the amounts of times that I stream, sometimes if I was sitting that long, it would not be healthy. And it's important to stay healthy, right? I sit all day for work. I'm already a developer, so I sit and sit at a computer for 8 hours already. So when I'm streaming, I like to stand because it's better for me overall. That's a you know for everyone out there watching these streams, I hope you stand up too at sometimes stand up, stretch, move around a little bit. In Python, strings are arrays. Is char at also an array function? So yeah, Beverin. So in JavaScript, you can do a lot of the same things with strings that you kind of can with arrays. For example, here, like we're taking, this is going to essentially um, break that string apart and look at each character in each location like it would in an array. Um, And so, yeah, I mean, they're not identical in JavaScript, but you can do some of the same things. For that, T'Challa says, wait for that 14-hour stream. You're standing the whole time. Yep. So we can do some of the same things, but yeah, they're not. So char at specifically is not an array function or an array method, but some of the things are transferable. We'll see that with some of these other methods. We'll see that like, oh, that's actually an array method or it's a string method, and so it just depends. All right. So this is our kind of description about what we think it does and what we know of it. But let's go ahead and still do our research and make sure that we're right. So if we just type this into Google, obviously we're going to get a lot of results, but a couple of the places that Leon recommends that we look for results is generally the MDN, right? So let's go ahead and focus our results on MDN for now. So I'm going to go MDN JS char at. And what this is going to do is it's going to tell Google that I want to specifically look at the MDN. I want to focus on JavaScript, and I want to search for specifically for the char at function or method, sorry. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see that. And so let's make sure that we are correct in our assumption of what this method does. All right, the string objects char at method returns a new string consisting of the single UTF-16 code unit, ooh, fancy, located at the specified offset into the string. Now the MDN likes to use big words, right? The MDN likes to wow us with vocab, but really what it's telling us is it's returning a string consisting of a single character located at the specified offset, so whatever index we passed in the string. All right, so how does it work? Let's see if it tells us that here. If not, if it doesn't, we can kind of give a general answer. Thank you for the follow, Fist of Fury. My goal is to be a code unit. Okay, so it doesn't say specifically how it works, but I think we can say in general, sort of, I assume it's going to essentially see if the specified there we go, specified index passed into the method matches any index available within the, use the proper tense here, sees if the specified index passed into the method matches any index available within the string, then returns the character at that index if available. Now, what happens if if we pass in a value that's maybe not in the string? Then maybe that's something we could experiment with. What happens if we pass in an index that's like a decimal or a string? Try to pass in a number that's a string. Or if we try to pass in, try to have it look against an empty string. We can maybe try a few of those examples and see what happens. But for now, I think this is a good general description of how it works. Hey, Fist of Fury, welcome. So we're just going through a few string methods and we're answering the questions that I have listed here. What does it do? How does it work? Maybe I don't know if we're going to talk about time complexity since we haven't even talked about that in class. I'm not sure that I'm the best person to introduce that concept. So we might skip that for now and then come back to it after we talk about it in class. But we can definitely answer these questions here and give some examples of how each method works. How do you type colored comments? Is this available as a GitHub repo? Yeah, it's an extension called Better Comments, and I highly recommend it. You can customize the color, you can customize the format, and you can trigger each type of comment using a specified symbol. So asterisk, plus sign, question mark, and you can literally format your comments however you would like, as long as it's a CSS command of some kind. You can format your comments however you want. So it's extremely useful. It explodes. Is there a place like MDN that explains the time complexity of methods? So I did do a little bit of Googling on some of these. I usually ended up at Stack Overflow. I usually ended up at Stack Overflow. So, which can be hit or miss in general. Yeah, and so for like this one, it's going to be uh, oops, it's going to be 01, big 01, from what I did research. But as far as like answering questions on why that is, or the specifics of big O notation, I'm not the one. I can't answer those questions. I actually don't know the answer. That's one of the perils of being a self-taught developer, is that you miss out on some of the data structures and algorithms stuff. And don't worry, Fist of Fury. We're going to be going over data structures and algorithms, starting to do that, I believe, next week in class, starting next Tuesday. So don't panic. We're just a little ahead of the curve. Thanks for the suggestions for better comments. Yeah, no worries. It's a great extension. Yeah, and you could argue. There's all sorts of ways you could argue. For complexity of various things, and different ways you can test that. And I'm not familiar with that yet. So I figure for most of these, we'll just wait unless we specifically know the answer, or somebody wants to contribute the answer. We'll probably just wait on that until we actually cover it in class as an appropriate introduction. Am I part of the catch up crew? No, no, no. I'm current with class. Um, this is part of the current assignment. So if you're current in class, you should be doing this assignment, which is why we're doing it here on stream. All right, so let's do some examples of this. Let's test out some of those scenarios that we talked about, that we were thinking we might want to test. So I've got a variable here called text1, with the text of sample text in it. So let's go ahead and console log a few examples. And let's just see what happens when we run various scenarios of this particular method. So in order to invoke this method, since it is a method, right, we do text1 dot car at, and if I wanted to get the first letter in this variable here, in this string of sample text, if I wanted to get the first letter, this capital S, what would I pass into my car at? Yeah, we'd pass in 0, right? Because our string is going to start at 0. So we'll do that. That'll be our first one. And we'll just see, I'm gonna run these and we'll see what comes out. All right. What if I wanted to get the last letter? What if I what if I wanted to get this T? What if I wanted to return that? What would I pass in to my car at? Okay, we've got folks saying -1. All right, let's pass that in then. All right, let's try a few edge cases here. Let's do a string. Let's try passing in a string. So I'll try passing in 0 in quotes and the word test. And let's do one more thing. Let's create an empty string. Let's test one empty string, and then we'll also console log that just to see what happens. All right, let's run it. So I'm going to run these here in VS Code, and I'm going to do that using an extension called Code Runner. If you don't have Code Runner, I'd highly recommend it. It does require that you have Node installed, but I think at this point, most of us already have Node, right? So you can do Code Runner to run console logs and simple things directly in VS Code. All right, let's run this. Oh, I didn't save it. I always do that. Okay. So we've got a few S's here. All right, let's comment a few. So I'm assuming that this will be the first S. I want to see which one. I want to see what this one does specifically. And clear this and try again. Aha, that's kind of what I thought would happen, but I wanted to try it and see. So when I run text.char at -1, we don't get anything back. What do we think I should say instead? Yeah, we're going to want to do text1.length, right? Length, I can't spell. Text1.length -1. Yeah. And that's a good point. What I should be doing is what I should do so we can identify these is label them better. So good point. Let's do this. We'll do 1 comma that, 2 comma that, 3, etc. That should make it easier to see which one is which. 5. Okay. Let's do these again. Oh, let me clear this. Oh, text, sorry. Text 1. There we go. I'll get it right eventually. Okay. What? Hey, welcome. Oh, and I put the label in the wrong place. Why'd y'all let me do that? You're right. It should be here. I'm kidding. It's all for the engagement, right? Like Leon says, it's all for the engagement. Of course I meant to do that. It's all planned. It's a social media experiment. And, you know, it's all for the engagement because I'm a master of social media. There we go. That's better. All right. So we got char at 0 giving us 0. We got char at text1.length -1 giving us that lowercase t at the very end. When we pass in a string, we get the capital S. And when I pass in the word test, interestingly, it looks like I also get the capital S. And my last log is missing its console. There we go. I think it's still not going to be much different, but yeah, I got it. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So when I pass in an empty string, I missed that. Now, if I change this to test1, that gives me an empty result. Why so many S? Well, because we're just trying different things to see what we get. And since our variable here that we're going against is sample text, we're just seeing what we get when we for our output when we run this. No parameters will also default to 0. Yeah. This is giving me Stack Overflow vibes. Best way to get an answer is not asking a question, but giving an incorrect answer. Absolutely. That's the rule of the internet. If you've ever been online, the best way to get the right answer is by giving the wrong one. Yeah, it's casting the string to undefined. What am I using to test the code in the terminal? I'm using a VS Code extension called Code Runner, and I would highly recommend it. If you have Node installed on your machine, you can use this. And you can console log directly into the terminal without having to worry about you know, doing things in the browser or anything like that. All right. I got. Indeed. That happens. It's all good. Oh, we got to hydrate there. Welcome, Jim. Yeah, and Roscoe says the spec says if position is less than 0 or position is greater than or equal to the size, return the empty string. Yep. Oh, we got to stretch. All right. Thank you for that. Fist of Fury says, "Do I know much about Hunttober? This is my first time being in the cohort, so I mean, all I know about it is what we've talked about in class so far. So Hunttober is just chock full of things that are meant to help you get a job." Oh, and Rascal giving some more context there. So the word tech or test or text or whatever, a string of some kind, right? A string that can't be parsed to a number becomes not a number. Yep. Which Car@, interprets as 0 because the internal to integer or infinity converts non-normal numbers as 0. Okay, nice. Good to know. I'm learning a framework. Astrolo says, "I'm learning a framework. Is it bad if I make an app by reading documentation from time to time or search from Google? I need to know everything by heart?" Question mark. That's a really great question. I'm glad you asked it. Um, so I'm a SQL developer. I do SQL all day. I'm learning web dev here in the evenings. And as a developer, I Google all the freaking time, all the time. I Google a lot. You shouldn't ever feel bad about Googling or reading documentation. That is a valuable thing to know how to do. Googling is a technical skill. It is a legitimate skill, and not everybody has that skill. And so if you can Google and Google effectively, then you are ahead, you are farther along than the majority of the population of the earth. Um, and so cultivate that skill. Don't be ashamed of it. Cultivate that skill. Cultivate that skill of knowing how to read documentation, and you will go very far. Um, so that's not a bad thing. That's a wonderful thing to know how to do. Keep doing that. Because I do it all the time as a dev. Drunk Uncle Grandma says, "I sometimes Google where I most likely left my car keys." Absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm the alpha wolf of Googling, but I do it a lot. Yay, that returns you some motivation. That's rad. I'm glad. Yeah, the better skill is to know that something is possible and what questions to ask. Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. To think like, yeah, I don't know how to do this right now, but I bet I could figure it out because this seems like something that should be possible. So if I can just Google this properly and, go, find the right question on Stack Overflow, then you can probably get it done. Control C, Control V. Yeah. I've said before and I'll say it again. If I ever get a tattoo, that's probably what I'm going to get. It's just Control C, Control V, like on my ankle or something. Hey, Quad Shot, welcome. Yeah, and DevQuest says CM Griffin, who is a fantastic streamer, has been streaming coding stuff way longer than I have. They're super experienced. Like CM Griffin is like experienced as all get out, super experienced. And they where I lost the comment. Oh yeah, DevQuest says CM Griffin is always telling people that he's like he's like Google. That's the damn job. Yeah. So if they say it, then it's yeah, then it's golden. So the ECMAScript, Rascal says the ECMAScript specification at the bottom of most MDN pages has all these internal processes described. Yeah, so at the bottom of that's a great thing. I'm glad you brought it up. So at the bottom of the MDM web docs, you can literally click and go to the actual ECMAScript language specification for these for each of these methods. So in this case, we it takes us straight to string prototype.car@, and it tells you what it's doing and the well, literally the specification for the method. So you can look at that if you want to, and it tells you what it does and literally what each element is, how each element is defined. It's interesting. So string prototype dot car at, oh, car kata is coded at is the next one. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Zach Coding, welcome. And Tasha says display flex tattoo on the bicep. Ooh, I don't know if I'm a bicep tattoo type of gal, but I'll take it under consideration. Yeah. If you're operating at 100% brain efficiency, you can use this spec and this. You can use the ECMAScript spec and that spec alone to build your own JavaScript with blackjack and stuff. Awesome, Charlie Gunthers. I'm glad that the code. So also that code runner challenge that allows you to run code directly in VS Code um, can be really helpful with code wars. So pro tip for solving code wars: take the code wars problem and drop it directly into VS Code, and then use Code Runner to just test your solutions. Just console log your solutions, run the test scripts through, and do everything in VS Code with all of its tools and helpfulness. And then once you have the right answer, then paste it back into Code Wars, and run the tests there. That's my pro tip for Code Wars. All right, so let's go to the next thing. I think let's look at car code at. So the first one we looked at was car at. And the next one we're going to look at is car code at. Now, what do we think the difference is between car at and car code at? And Hertz, if you just installed Code Runner, you might have to like close VS Code and open it back up again. And then once you do, you should see a little play button up in the top corner, and also make sure that you're console logging stuff too to get the answers. So a couple things you have to do in order to make Code Runner work is make sure you have the play button up here, save your file before you run it. It has to be saved, and then make sure that you're doing the things you would normally do to make things display in the console. One returns a string, the other returns a number. Okay, what does that number mean? What does that number mean? Gives us the UTF code of that character at index. You can get the ASCII code using char code at. Yeah. One return. So yeah. So the difference here is that what this returns the actual character, and this returns the code, the code of that character at that position. Yeah. Oh, Jazzy Pants. I use Code Runner with Code Wars all the time, just to run multiple test cases, run my own test cases. It's for me, it's super useful. May not be useful for everyone. Car code app. All right, so let's see if we're right here. Car. I'm going to keep the same query that I used before. Car code at. Did I say that? Yeah. It returns an integer between 0 and 65,535, representing the UTF-16 code at the given index. Okay, so let's put that in plainer English, maybe. Y'all were exactly right. Returns an integer. Let's say this. Takes in an index value and a string, and returns an integer for the UTF-16 value located at that index. We'll say that. Okay. So the UTF-16 code unit matches the Unicode code point for code points, which can be represented. Oh my gosh. All right. If it doesn't fit, then the code unit returned will be the first part of a circuit pair. If you want the entire code point value, use code point at. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so what I was curious about is that some folks mentioned ASCII versus Unicode, and in this case, but they're basically saying that Unicode code points range from this value to this value, but the first 128 are a direct match for ASCII. Anything higher than 65,536 is represented by a pair of characters, which are used to comprise the real character. So we would need to retrieve two car code values in order for that to happen. And car code returns not a number if the given index is less than 0, or if it's greater than or equal to the length of the string. Okay. All right, so how it works, well, essentially it's going to be similar to car code. So I'm going to kind of copy this, but then returns the UTF-16 integer value at that index if available. If the we could say if the integer value is larger than 655,536, right? Then car code at I+1 should be used to get the other half of the value pair. Okay. ASCII sounds futuristic. Oh man, ASCII is like historic internet. Remember when you used to make, well, I know some people still do, make ASCII pictures. Back when web pages were just text and no images, people would make ASCII art instead of have it, since if you couldn't post actual images, you make art using ASCII characters. It's kind of a skill. Yeah, and UTF-16 is multi-byte encoding. So there's strings have length, right? They have length, and each character is like one unit of length within that string. But strings can also take up bytes, like actual space, right? These characters can take up space. And so what you can have happen is you can have certain characters that actually take up multiple bytes, like 2 bytes. And those characters can sometimes be tricky to work with. So quick story time from from my experiences as a dev so far. So I work with databases, right? And databases have storage, sometimes have storage limits, and they have to have space. They have space concerns. Thinking about how much space a particular field takes up in a database is important when you're working at scale. So when you potentially have millions of rows within a table, you need to be cognizant of how much space maybe that field takes up. And in some cases, you need to, when you're setting up a table, you actually need to specify the amount of space that that field occupies. So for example, when I'm doing dev work in SQL, building out a new table, I have to profile the data that I'm taking in and say, oh, this field looks like the maximum space is going to be 16 characters, or oh, it's a flag, it's a yes no flag, so I'm going to say length of 1 because y or n. And so that's actually something we have to be cognizant of. Now, sometimes databases aren't looking at length. Sometimes databases are looking at bytes. And right now, for example, at my employer, we use a tool to ingest data into our database and do what we call ETL. So extract, transform, load. We extract data from a source, we transform it. So maybe that's formatting, maybe that's doing calculations, concatenating fields, that kind of thing. And then we load it into a target system. Now, our tool that we use for this ETL works using length. So field lengths. We take in fields of a certain length, we specify that length, and then we output fields of, maybe a different length. However, the database does things in bytes. So if I have a Unicode character with a length of 1, for example, say the smiley face emoji or the poop emoji, if that field technically has a length of 1, but takes up 2 bytes, and then you have a field that's maybe 2,000 characters in length, but could contain hundreds of Unicode values, you can start to see a potential problem there, right? Because if I'm doing a calculation of a field based on what I see visually as the length, or is it when I'm doing my profiling, I can see, oh, my max length here is 2,000 characters. I can make this field 2,000 characters in the database. And then I try to ingest all this Unicode. The database is looking at it in terms of bytes. I have 100 Unicode characters that are 2 bytes each. All of a sudden, the database sees it as, 2,200 versus 2,000. So, true story. I'm speaking from experience here. we just had a bit of a minor dust up with certain tables because we just recently switched over to being even able to ingest Unicode characters at all. And all of a sudden, we have all this Unicode coming into our database, which is just blowing up these tables. So I know that's a bit of a digression there, but I think it's important to kind of maybe conceptualize, okay, why does this stuff matter at all? Why does, thinking about, um, uh, you know, characters potentially being represented by a pair of values, why does that matter at all? Well, it matters because it can screw with database lengths. Um, so I'm sure that other folks I'm not keeping up with chat, but I'm sure that folks have also, shared their own examples of this. So I'm going to try to catch up here a little bit. But yeah, UTF-16 is multi-byte encoding. Yep. And that's exactly the problem that we're having right now at work. Like today, I just submitted a fix for a table that blew up because it started ingesting Unicode characters, and my field lengths weren't long enough. And literally, it's mostly emojis. We're taking in some data that allows people to answer with emojis in like question answers. And yeah, the emojis are killing us, man. Friggin' emojis. Yeah, ASCII is a subset of Unicode. That's a great way to put it. 8-bit to 16-bit. Yep. So it's those fancy emojis. It's those newfangled emojis that won't get off my lawn that are messing up all my database tables. There's an entire Star Wars original trilogy recreation in ASCII 2 art. I'm not surprised. Reminds me of the old RPG walkthrough websites. Yeah, absolutely. ASCII was like the backbone of the early internet. That's why you should name all your variables with a single character. No, do not do that. Remind me to never work with databases. Oh man, I love working with databases. It's so fun. Databases are so like they have rules, right? You can follow as long as you follow the rules, you'll be fine. And Brashless said this is the origin of the Y2K issue, saving bytes in a date field on systems where storage space was limited. So they limited the bytes, and then it bit them in the butt once it tried to flip over to because that's right. Yeah, they tried to store them as just um, like 90, 98, 99, and then it tried to flip over, and it yeah. Another one bites the dust. Yep. Point to the emoji that describes how you feel. What I want to do is just a nice truncate, but I can't. Oh, thank you for the follow, Caprizi, Mavaholic, and Naraku. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed the my little digression there into complaining about Unicode. Hey, Naraku. Filter those emojis on save. Yeah. So in some cases, though, actually, we try to preserve the data as much as possible. So the goal. So I, as a backend developer, the main purpose of what I do is to give the customer what they want. While keeping the data as intact as possible. So doing any modifications that the customer requests, but keeping the data as close to the source as possible. So as much as I would love to just filter out all those emojis, I'm afraid I can't. Yeah, I do that with HTML tags because those are useless to the end user. But the emojis could actually convey something in the output, so we leave them in place. All right. So if anybody knows the time complexity for this, you're welcome to advise. Well, let's go straight to some examples and kind of put this in practice. Cog3D says SQL is hard. Does that type of work excite you? Yeah, it does. It's all I've ever done up until the point where I started learning web development. That's literally all I'd ever done is SQL. I learned it on the job. I don't think it's hard personally. I think it's easy to pick up. If you don't believe me, I actually have a past stream on an intro to SQL, which gives you all of the basics that you need in like a 3 hour stream. Um, and so you can find it on my YouTube channel, exclamation point YouTube, and you can play around with it. It's actually fairly easy to pick up the basics. It's one of those things that's easy to learn and hard to master. So all the basics that you would need for like a non-SQL job, for like a business analytics job or a data analytics job or even a developer job in another language, I think you could pick up, very easily. And you'll notice that SQL is on a lot of job descriptions. I don't know if you've all have, how many of y'all have kind of noticed that SQL is listed fairly often for other dev job descriptions. It's maybe not as like a requirement, but as like a nice to have, preferred or one of those things that's not required but nice to have. You've seen it a lot. Yeah, it's everywhere. Yep, it's in that desirable column. So I'm not saying go out and learn SQL, but I am saying you'll get far if you know just the crash course basics of how to do just a basic SQL query, not even any database manipulation, just a basic select statement with a join. I think that could be helpful to have. And like I say, I've done a stream on it. Um, it's on my YouTube channel. I don't know if it's still up here on Twitch. It might have fallen off by now. Um, but yeah, it's called Intro to SQL on my YouTube channel, which should give you enough to check that box in the desirable column. Yes, it's everywhere. Yeah, they have it in desirables, lots of them. Who uses Mongo in Big Biz? That's another point. Is that SQL databases, relational databases, have been around for a very long time. Since like the 70s. And so they are very entrenched in big business culture. A lot of smaller companies may be pivoting to the NoSQL environment, the MongoDB and that sort of thing. But SQL and relational databases are popular and very well entrenched, and companies are not going to want to pivot to a completely new platform while relational databases are still working very well for them. So most big businesses are going to be using a relational database of some kind. And so SQL can be really nice to know. Also, a lot of GUI tools, so tools that have a no code interface, where you're dragging and dropping, that kind of thing. A lot of the times they will have some kind of a SQL backend. And you can, bypass the GUI and get straight to the backend if you know a little SQL and probably do things faster and more efficiently. It's not on my Twitch anymore. Okay, yeah, go to my YouTube. It's there. Um, it's just called Intro to SQL. You should be able to search it up pretty easily. And yeah, give it a watch if you're interested in SQL. Seeing quite a few posting with Postgres. Yeah. And so most flavors of SQL are similar. There's going to be key differences. It's kind of like, I like to think of it like dialects of English. So, there's American English, there's, British English, there's, Australian English. They have different accents and they have different words for things, but they're still, I can understand someone from Australia, right? Um, we might have different accents or different words for things, but we can understand each other. And so that's kind of how I see the different flavors of SQL. You've got PL SQL, T SQL, Postgres, MySQL, all those different flavors. And if you know the basics of SQL in general, you should be able to kind of know the basics of any of those. For example, I've worked with both T SQL, I learned on T SQL, and now I work with PL SQL, and it wasn't too hard to switch. Rascal says, eBay uses MongoDB. Okay, rad. DTCC still uses COBOL. Yeah, big businesses, businesses are reluctant to switch from something that works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? You can use Mongo like a relational database. Yeah, you can. I prefer the command line instead of a GUI. Right? Yeah, and sometimes you can be much more. You can do things more efficiently, more quickly, less resource intensive, and you can have more options with a command line or with a direct interface versus a GUI. A couple of jobs have had both Postgres and Mongo for different use cases. Yeah, yeah, and it's about the right tool for the job too. I'm not out here saying that SQL is the end all be all and that there's no reason to ever use MongoDB. I don't think that's true. I just think that relational databases are very entrenched, and just you're going to see them everywhere. And so if you know the basics of SQL, you can have that little extra advantage over the people who don't. Potential jobs, exactly. Yeah. All right, so let's test out this car code ad. I love talking about SQL and all those things. So feel free to keep the questions coming if you have it, or really about anything. But let's also see if we can come up with a couple examples here. So text to sample text. Yeah, like Leon says, we're just opening more doors, right? Oh, thank you, Urchin. All right. So text to, let's see how we apply this now. All right, so we'll just do a console log. I'll try to get it right this time. Console log 1, and then we'll just do text to dot car code at, and let's do car code at 0. We'll do some of the same tests that we did before, but let's just see what we get back. And also too, I'm going to put like a different type of character. Let's do like a exclamation point at the end of this. So we'll do length -1 again. Just see some of the values that we get back. So that's an S, and then we'll also do, and it's about time for a break too. So after we finish this, we'll take a break. Car code at, car code at 1, and we'll also do, let's do car code at, see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Do car code at like 15 and see what we do if we pass in an index that's invalid. All right, and I'm going to change my labels here so we can see which one is which. And feel free to suggest if you have something that you want me to try. Zerk says, just got assigned a SQL related thing at work, going on the resume for sure. Yeah, put that on your, anytime you dabble in a new tool or a different language, that should immediately go on your resume and on your LinkedIn, just to get the algorithm start to see it, right? Hey, HB Money, welcome. Okay, and save this and let's run it. So I'm going to clear the console here. Let's see what we get. Oh, and I should have, I always forget to comment out. Let's comment these out because otherwise we're going to get real confused real fast. So This is back to the old days. For those of you who've been on my streams for a long time, when we used to do a lot of homework problems, in sequence, I would always forget to comment out the previous problem. Um, okay, what did I do? Saved it, commented that out. Text to okay. There we go. That worked that time. Okay. Don't know what I did that first time, but it worked this time. So, all right. So so we got their S here. That's value 83, 33, 97. And when I passed in an invalid index value, we got not a number. So that's about as expected. These are all, single, fairly low integer values. But again, if we happen to have one that was a double occupancy, we'd only get the first half anyway. If it was a pair character, we'd only get the first half anyway. So yeah, so this just gives us the code at that particular index. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to answer one more question, and then we'll go ahead and do a break. 5 minutes. We like to try to break around the top of each hour, and just to get up and walk around a little bit. Because I'm sure most of you are. I'm standing. I have a standing desk, but I'm sure a lot of folks out there are sitting, and so you got to get up. You don't want a leg cramp or a blood clot in your leg or anything, and so you can get up and walk around a little bit. Oh, and the time complexity. So are we guessing that it might be another 01? Get this right here. I don't know, but we can maybe put a question mark there. For now, and we can always go back and change it. And locating, so I'll answer this one question, then we'll do a break. So locating says, how do you handle all the open doors, learning new technologies, yet remaining proficient in everything that came before? I feel like the more I learn, the more I lose. That's an interesting question. So yeah, we already know that just from what we've seen so far, how quickly things can become out of date, right? Libraries get updated, packages change, um, new shiny things come out, and we're expected to know how to use them, learn how to use new tools, that kind of thing. Um, I think it's not necessarily about being proficient in literally everything. It's more about gaining the knowledge of how to find resources, and like where to find resources when you need them, and quick repositories of information. So, and also knowing what questions to ask. Um, so I think you shouldn't have to be proficient in everything. It's more about learning, all right, here's my resources. I have documentation. Here's my documentation that I can go to if I need to look something up, or I know I'm not going to remember this. So I'm just going to make some documentation for it real quick, and I'm going to store it here and forget about it until I need it again. Um, when I had to use this obscure function last time, I went to this particular website and I asked a question and they were very nice. So I think I'm going to ask again when I need to use this other obscure function. So it's more about learning how to navigate the landscape. So that way you can pick things up more quickly and revisit older things that you're going to forget, more easily, right? It's about learning how to navigate the resources, because there's no way that you can hold literally everything that you ever learned in your brain and learn new things and be good at everything. It's not going to be possible. You wouldn't have a life. Um, and so I think for me, it's about just curating those resources and learning how to ask questions and learning how to find those resources. Hey Zena, feel like I'm kind of burned out for the day. Will I get to see little Aria on the VOD? Oh yeah, yeah. If you can hold on for the 5 minute break, I will have Aria on stream after the break. So if you want to, if you can stick it out for 5 minutes for the break, and then I'll have Aria on stream when we come back. Okay, we'll go ahead and take our break now, just so Zena gets to see her little Aria live. All right, because yes, Aria. For those of you who just joined, or joined a little bit late, Xena spent 25,000 25,000 channel points to name a foster kitten. So Xena gets to see the kitten that they named. Yeah, and Polka says, I like to learn the general concepts and leave the details for documentation. Absolutely. Okay, so let's take that break for Xena and for us, and 5 minute timer. And when we come back, we'll see a kitten. Um, and then we'll get back to answering questions, talking about stuff, and learning some string methods. All right. So reset that, and I'll see you back here in 5. Okay, folks, we got about a minute left in the break, so come on back, get yourself a glass of water, pet your dog, hug your partner. Do whatever you got to do. I've got a little friend here who wants to say hello. So you'll get to see her, little Miss Aria here, in about 30 seconds. So prepare yourselves. Yeah, Aria is a great name. Absolutely. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the timer. And going to switch my scene here. Turn my camera on first. Okay. And there we go. Gotta have a big screen for the kitten experience. All right. Here's Miss Aria. She says hello. She's purring really loudly right now. You can't. I'm sure you can't hear because my noise cancellation. But oh, kiddo, where are you going? Here we go. She's on. She's in my hair. She's got me. Hey, there we go. And she looks exactly like her twin sister Fig, who was named by Hattie. Um, but she's got a little bit of white right there on her toe. The only thing standing between us and greatness, noise cancellation. Yeah. Yep. Look at the camera, sweet pea. There we go. Hello. Yeah, she is. I'm gonna do something real quick here. I'm gonna silence those notifications that keep popping up. Okay, that should be better. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And so she is I think she's about 7, 8 weeks, maybe a little older. It's hard to tell. She's a shelter kitten, so it's hard to know exactly when they're born. But yeah, I foster kittens through the Humane Society, through the animal shelter, and I they come to me as little chicken nuggets about that big, and then I raise them up into big chonkers like this one. Yeah, she's purring and she's got her face buried in my. She loves to be cuddled. She loves cuddles, um, and she just loves to be held. Her and oh, hi, what are you doing? Her and her sisters love cuddles, and they never bite or scratch, so they're very sweet. Yeah. Do I bottle feed them? I did bottle feed them. Yeah. When they're very small, you have to before they can eat real food, you feed them formula if they don't have their mom. And so these guys, I did bottle feed. I fed them once every 3 hours or so. That includes overnight. So I would get up in the middle of the night and feed them. And it's always such a wonderful time when they start being able to eat on their own without me having to get up every 3 hours. That's always a wonderful thing. Oh, what are you doing? Are you licking me? Yeah, she's licking me. Oh, Zena, I'm glad you got to see her, and I hope you like her. Can I code with her on me? I'm kind of like supporting her with my other hand, so I'm not sure that that would work. But maybe she'll sit on my shoulder. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't think she's gonna be a good shoulder cat. Yeah, we'll have to do a kittenless coding session, but I hope you all survive. Yeah, she's purring so loud. She loves this. All right. I think we'll have her say goodbye and then we'll put her back and we'll get back to it. Yeah, she's got a little belly. They're all little chonkers. Yeah. Goodbye. Yay. Need one of those baby wrap straps. Yeah, cats love being confined and contained. Absolutely. Good night, Xena. Glad you got to see her. All right. I'm going to put her back just 2 seconds and then I will be back. Okay. Yeah. 2 seconds. I'll be back and we'll get back to it. All right, we're back. Glad you all enjoyed the kitten cam. Thanks again, Zena, for claiming that kitten cam. So, the channel point reward is always there. I'm sure I'll be getting a new foster kitten litter very soon. These guys are almost ready to go back to the shelter. So as soon as I do have a litter, I'll let you know. And anybody else is welcome to name one. All right. Just making sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, she's a snuggly kiddo. That would be a great 100 hours, an app to foster until ready. That's actually what I'm working on. I'm working on, for a 100 hours project, I'm working on an app that lets shelter foster coordinators and foster parents um, communicate better as far as how their kittens are doing at any given point. So yeah, I'm actually working on that. One of you nerds is going to need to name a cat Bison. No, not me. I'm waiting for Freddie Mercury. Nice. Emma, me, you're also doing that. That's all right. We can both do the same. We can both do the same topic. That's awesome because I'm sure they're going to be, unique from each other. All right. So we just did car code at. So let's look at this next one, which is concat. So concat, anybody? But yeah. All right. So what does concat do? Remember that and if you all recall, the expanded form of this particular word is one of my favorite words. Name one drop table, little Bobby tables. Yeah. It joins. So remember, we're talking about string methods here. So yeah, you can also use concat with arrays, but here we're talking specifically about strings. And so yeah, if we are essentially what it does is that you can take two strings, right, and you can join them together. MME says, I had a lot of trouble communicating with other fosters, and cat info gets lost in the communications. So I'm developing a cat log app for my local cat rescue. That's awesome. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, so here we're no, that's fine, Zerg. I didn't specify. I forgot to re-specify that we're looking specifically at string methods here. So that's on me. Yeah, we're joining two strings, and so and essentially it doesn't have to necessarily be just two strings, right? We could do it. I believe it could take in more. Joins strings together and puts a single string. Yeah. Concatenates the argument to the calling string. Yeah, but I think you could also I think you can pass in multiple. So you call it with a string, but I think you can also pass in multiple strings as arguments too. We can test that. To be honest, I don't use concat very much. I'm not sure if any of you do, but because from what I understand, using other methods is actually more efficient now. It may not have always been that way, but using the plus sign and template literals, I think is more efficient. Yeah, just like string one plus string two or whatever, or template literals. Yeah, as many. Okay, Rascal says as many as you want. So we'll test that when we do our examples. And let's go ahead and look it up here in the docs. All right, so I'm going to do search again for MDN, JS, and concat. Yeah, it's used to merge two joins. Oh, that's the array. Whoops, that's the array one. I want the string one. String prototype concat. There we go. Concatenates string arguments, joins two or more strings together, and outputs a single string. Yeah, I'll say a single new string. Okay. And they're showing us here in the syntax that, yep, we can indeed do, up to n strings, as many as we want. Changes to the original string or the return string don't affect the other. Yeah. And if arguments are not of the type string, they are converted to string values before concatenating. So we'll test that too when we do our examples. Concat dog, cat dog. Rav Robert says, what's the difference between that and a plus sign? Like visually, nothing. There is no difference. From what little research I did, it seems like using the plus is actually more efficient. I did a little bit of Googling around just to see, is there a case when we would prefer to use concat over just, like plus signs, template literals, that kind of thing. I didn't find one. Honestly, I didn't see. I couldn't really find a good justification where we would want to use concat instead of using a plus sign or template literals or something. So how it works? Well, what it does is it takes in a calling string and concatenates all strings passed in as arguments to the method in sequence, I guess, right? And Rascal says plus is better because a function call is more expensive than a language built in. Yeah, so the plus sign is a built-in, like it's built into the language itself. Whereas when we call concat, we're doing a function call, which is more resource intensive. Thank you for the engagement. Okay, so let's do some examples here. All right, so we have text3 as what we're passing in. Hey, Jack Tree, welcome. Good to see you. All right, so not text10, text3, jeepers, text3 dot concat, and then let's pass in some stuff. So text3 right now is sample text, so I'm going to pass in something different. Let's pass in. First, we'll just start passing in one thing, and then we'll make it more complex as we go. So console log that, and then we'll do some more examples. Oh, Rascal says, yeah, it's more expensive because it goes into the call stack. Execution context changes, values are returned, all this spoopy internal stuff. Spoopy. It is Huntover, so we got to be a little scared sometimes. Hey, thank you for the wow, thank you for the sub, Tucker Tech. Much appreciated. 7-month streak. Wow, thank you so much. All right, so let's try passing in a couple things. This is a second argument. Pass in that as well. I'm going to put a space there so it's more readable. And then let's try passing in something that's not a string. Also, feel free to suggest if there's anything you want me to try. Let's make this exclamation. Let's pass in like a number instead. Let's pass in like, I don't know. No. 9,000. There. Get rid of that. Okay. Oh, yeah, we can do a Boolean as well. Let's do a Boolean. We'll just do a single argument for that one. Just pass in like true. And oh yeah, and let's do an object. That's a great suggestion. So we'll try to like just like a key value pair thing, and then other thing. Try that. We'll just see what happens. And I forgot to put my labels here, so we need to see what we're actually logging. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's see what we get. Oh, and null. Yeah, let's try it. Let's pass in null too. That's another great suggestion. All right, 6 and concat null. Yeah, good, great suggestions. And I'm going to comment out what we did for the previous one and save. Okay, and we'll clear the console and let's see what we get. All right, yeah. Okay, so the first one we got as expected. So our first output here, it just concatenated the exclamation point. And the second one also took in multiple arguments and concatenated those just fine. Sample text, this is the second argument. The next one, it took in the number and just as promised, it converted it to a string, right? Took in the number, converted it to a string. And it did the same thing for the Boolean. It took in the Boolean and converted it to a string. But the trying to pass in an object is where it gets a little hairy. I think it didn't like the other thing is not defined. Yeah, it doesn't like that. It got to the colon and it kind of yeah air it out. So let's comment that one out and let's try it again and see what happens with the nulls. But I think what it's going to do is it's going to convert that null to a string, and yeah, just like it did with the Boolean and with the number. It's just if it can ingest it, it's going to take that in and convert it directly to a string. Oh, and you want me to put other thing in quotes? We can do that. Let's do that. All right, other thing in quotes. Let's try that. See what happens. Hey, it understands it's an object, but it doesn't know how to convert it directly. So we get that the output I'm sure we've all seen before: object in brackets. Other thing, yep. Yeah. So we just get the generic object output. It doesn't quite know how to digest it, but it knows it's an object. So it spits that out. Oh, you want, okay, let's do an array. Yep. What happens if we dump in an array? Sure. So we'll do 7 and we'll just do an array of like, try an array of numbers and see what happens there. Okay. Yeah. So it was able to take that in and it converted each of the numbers directly to strings. Hope y'all, yeah, that's not behind my head, so you can see that. Good. And actually, too, I should have done this sooner. I'm gonna move the chat above my head, see if that makes it easier to see what's in the console. Okay, there we go. Oh, you want to concat a symbol? Okay, yeah, we can do that. Sometimes it's fun just to play around and see what happens when you do stuff, right? We should all make time to do that. All right. So like what symbol? What symbol are you thinking? If somebody wants to give me a symbol to put in here. Like what's the playing around is when you learn the most? Yeah, absolutely. How can I do an emoji in VS Code? Now it's my chance to learn something here. How can I do an emoji in VS Code? I haven't done that. Oh, infinity sign? We can do that. I'm going to grab it directly out of chat. Do I have to like copy it from elsewhere? There we go. Infinity. Oh, it doesn't like that. Just copy paste. Okay, yeah. I think Windows 11 actually has an emoji keyboard for some reason. I could probably get it from there. I wonder if I just emoji. How did I get? I think that there is an emoji keyboard somewhere. I don't know how to get to it, but we'll try the infinity symbol for now. Yeah, and I know there's alt key like combos and stuff you can do, but here's a flag. Okay, we'll do that. We'll try both of them. We'll YOLO it here. See if that works. All right, it's gonna be 8. Ooh. It doesn't like that. I was trying. It makes sense that they need to be in strings, but I just wanted to see what would happen if I didn't. If it would be able to convert those, you know, or but I guess not. Okay, that's fine. We'll be nice. We'll put it in strings. We'll put it in quotes. Nope, it just converted them direct. So it was able to handle the it was able to handle the infinity sign. So that's good. Control command space. Okay, well that would be control. Let's see, control Windows space. Mm. Nope, no dice here, but that's okay. So it looks like maybe if we have an emoji and we Windows period. Oh, okay. Maybe if I click out of VS Code. Hey, oh, it's behind my head. You can't see it, but it's here. Let me see if I can drag it over. Oh, we got emojis, baby. All right, all right, all right, all right. Oh, it went away. All right, hang on. Come on. I guess you're gonna make me drag it over each time. Okay. How do I? Can I copy it? As soon as I click away from the keyboard, it disappears. So this feels illegal. Yeah, it's right, Rascal. It's an emoji keyboard and it's not always on top. I don't understand how this is okay, but it won't let me copy. Can I drag? It won't let me drag. As soon as I click away, it disappears. Yeah. Lame. And it's not like it minimizes, it just goes away. So that's fun. All right, so Matt gives me an option here. I don't know that if that'll work though, because if I drop it in here as a string, I think it'll just um, treat it like that. But if I make it not a string, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. But oh, forgot to clear it. Yeah, doesn't like that. And if I do it like this, it'll treat it as a literal string. Oh, I forgot to save. Here. When I right click, I see emoji. Okay, we can try that. Right click. So this is giving me a VS Code menu. Yeah. Oh, if you want to use that Unicode as a string. Okay. Thanks, Rascal. Like that. We're going to get emoji working. Oh, oh, look at that. Yeah. It's not emoji, but it is a special character. I don't know how well you can see that. But yeah, we got the infinity symbol. We got this weird N thing with like with a bunch of swoopies and then a B. It took in the B as part of it didn't recognize the B as being part of the symbol, but we got closer. It's a thing. Yeah. Windows key. Yeah, I did do the Windows key period, and that brings up the emoji keyboard. But the thing is, it doesn't let me click in VS Code so I can like put the emoji in. It just doesn't let me do it. Things are happening. Yeah. That's okay. We let me see if I can copy an emoji from. I'm gonna try copying an emoji from Discord. We'll see. I don't know if that'll work. I think I've still got Discord open. So I wonder if I can. Let me go to a channel where I can. We'll figure this out. All right. I'm gonna drop in an emoji. Now, no, I'm gonna do like a smiley face, something basic. This there, smiley face, copy. Slight smile. That's not gonna work. Place your cursor in VS Code, then hit Windows plus. Okay, well, I'll try it again. It might be that I'm using Windows 11, which is a little janky. Um, oh, we got an okay. All right, so maybe a smiley face. Let's try that. Save. Oh! We got a smiley face. All hands on deck. We got a smiley face in our output. Nailed it, Strange Shadow Song. You got it. With color, yeah, right? We've got not only a smiley face, it is a colorful smiley. Nice. We're all excited here and we don't mind spending extra time to test how emoji would work. Yeah, using emoji are a fundamental method of communication in the modern world. We gotta know how to incorporate them, right? This is like it or not, whether you like emoji or not, this is like a modern part of web development or of development in general. You got to know how emoji factor in. Leon will be proud. Yeah, y'all got to tell Leon that we figured out how to incorporate emoji directly into our console log output. Copy pasta. Yeah. I'm sure there is an emoji extension. Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm very happy with this. And I'm sure we can find more ways to. I'm sure if you do a little research, I bet you could figure out how to implement whatever emoji you want. So use this as your jumping off point for greatness in the future. May all your console logs be filled with emojis from now on. We've become so powerful. If we do this on Mac, would the emoji in the console look like the Apple emoji? I don't know. You should try it. That could be your little research project. Okay, I'm going to leave this exactly as is because I think it's brilliant. So I think we've exhausted our test cases there on Concat, but I'm very appreciative of what we've done here. I feel like we've accomplished a lot. But let's go ahead and go on to the next one. I think. How did I do it again? Well, it's really just inputting this code right here, and I'll even drop it in chat if you want to try it. Just input that code and the output in the console will be the smiley emoji. Using that in every code wars going forward, please do. Put it in your own code. Emojis in the console log will be the next instant job get skill after buttons. Yeah. Yeah, don't sleep on this ability. Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at the next let's look at the next method, which is includes. And you do this in Fizz button on the next technical interview and they give you 4 jobs. Make the emoji a button. Yeah, coming full circle. Absolutely. Updating my resume with emojis. No, actually, like again, talking about Unicode, that was one of the things that I had trouble with is people putting people putting potentially emojis like in their resumes and then copying and pasting their resumes directly into these into these fields, which were then ported directly into the database, and so they're filled with emojis and not necessarily like emojis, but Unicode characters and clutter and things. And so it's a very real problem and something we got to know how to deal with. Are these special characters and how they might appear in places that aren't necessarily designed to handle them. Throw an error, but with a smiling emoji to make people feel better about their bugs. That's what I was thinking. Is like you have an alert message, but it's got an emoji in it, so it makes you feel better. Hieroglyphics. All right, so includes. What does includes do? For just off the top of our head, if we've used includes for before, what do we know that includes does for us? Yeah, Sullivan coming in hot with the quick answer there. Nice. So they say checks if a string has a particular word or character. So it takes in an input, right? It takes in an input of some kind, a string, and then checks to see if the string we're checking against has that in it, and then if it does, returns a true, and if not, returns false. It ponders the questions: does this string include X? To be or not to be, indeed. All right, so let's look it up here in the MDN and confirm that. That was a good answer, though. String, and remember, when you are Googling these things, we're looking for string methods specifically here. So you want to make sure that if you're picking between these two, you want to make sure that you're picking the string version. And so includes performs a case-sensitive search. Okay, so that's another important distinction. Case-sensitive search to determine whether one string may be found within another string, returning true or false as appropriate. So absolutely nailed it, Sullivan Emerald. Great answer. And so here we have the example they give is they have a sentence and then they have a word. And so they check to see if the word is inside of the sentence by calling it with sentence dot includes and then the argument that we're passing in which case is Fox. All right, so what it does, it takes in a string as argument and checks to see if the calling string contains the cannot spell argument. Checks to see if the calling string contains the argument, if and returns a Boolean. The method is case sensitive. All right. So it takes in a string to be searched, and it says cannot be regex, so it specifies that you can't pass in regex. Oh, and there's an optional argument for position as well. Okay, so there's two ways we could call this. So we could pass in just a search string, or we could pass in a search string and a position at which to begin searching. I don't know if I've ever called it with using that position, but it's a good thing to remember. So takes in a string as an argument. Also has an optional argument for the position at which to begin the search. So we'll add that on there as well. Yeah. So yeah, exact match. Most use string method. Yeah, I mean it's very. I've definitely used it a lot. I don't know that I've ever used the position argument with this, just because a lot of times it feels like when I do use this, I'm using it against fairly short strings, which I'm kind of already know I want to search the whole thing. But I think it is useful to know. So it defaults to 0, which is the start if you don't specify it. Includes is case sensitive, and you could work around it by transforming the whole thing to lowercase, obviously, or uppercase. Okay. So how it works, I'm actually kind of curious. I wonder if there's anything in the specification about how it actually does this. Because with this one, it's not just we're not just looking at a single character, right? We could be looking at a single character, but in general, we're probably going to be looking at a full word. So loopity loop. So I wonder if we can figure out how it actually does this. Let's Google for it. So JS includes string method. How does it work? We'll try that. I assume it's gonna, it's gonna go character by character, right, and match against both. I assume it's doing some kind of a loop. Um, so maybe a sort with AB, maybe so. I'll make this a little bigger so it's easier to see the results. Um, JS includes string method. Search process. Sometimes it's hard to know the right terms. Oh, the last line of the spec says it uses, where does it say that? Uses index of under the hood. Okay. All right. Let's open that up. Oh, okay. All right. So under the hood, this is using string index of. Um, and it takes in the length of the string, the length of the search value, let candidate be the substring of string from I to I plus search length. So candidates. Okay. All right. All right. And so it essentially for each, so it's looping through to the end of the length of the search value. And if it matches, if a candidate matches, if an individual value matches, it returns it. And so in this case, I assume it's going to return true if the all the return candidate values end up matching the input value that we're searching for. So if that's a match, if both of those match, then I assume that would be when we return true from from this particular method. So len is the length of the string, which is like the thing we're searching against, and our search value is what we're searching for, and search length is the length of search value. So we find candidates at each value in our string, and if it matches, then we return it. So I'm assuming, yeah. So I'm assuming that if how includes determines whether to return true or false is if the return value of candidate, when it's done searching through the entire string, if candidate matches what we're searching for, that completed value, then we get true, else false. So that's my guess anyway of how that's working. It doesn't say exactly because we're looking at the source, but it's like a written accent. Got to be super verbose. Yeah, that's okay. Um, yeah, and the length is just there to tell it when to stop looping. Yeah. So here, what we're doing is um, it's essentially just saying for each integer I in ascending order. So, and for that, we're going from index. This is assuming that there's potentially a start index. So if we don't specify a start index, that's going to be 0 because it'll be the start of our search string. So we can assume it's 0. We loop I through that, and yeah, and then then we essentially we just go to the end of the string minus the length of the search value. So yeah, it's essentially just looking for something that's the same length as what we're putting in and returning matching candidates. Yeah, so if we were using includes and we've said, and we use that optional argument, the second argument, and we passed in like a 2, that would be the from index. That's where we would start searching. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, we can try to condense this down into human language a little bit, maybe. Um, let's see. Search value is the empty string. Empty string is. Okay. Let's try to like make this into human words a little bit. Um, so essentially, what it does is searches each character from the start of the, let's see, from the starting index value, which is 0 if not specified in the optional arguments. The optional argument searches from each character from the starting index value. And returns candidates that match the input search value. If all returned candidates match the input search value in the same order, then returns true, else false. I'd say that's close enough. I like math, but this is hard. Yeah, and sometimes it's down to wording, right? I mean, it's sometimes just reading documentation can be hard. Okay, good enough for government work. Yeah, right. We don't got to be CS theory masters right now, but it's still good to I mean just even learn how to navigate those docs and start to learn how to read them. Okay, so time complexity, if anybody knows it, you're welcome to state it here. Otherwise, that's something we can come back to later once we've talked about it in class. Um, so let's do some samples. All right, here we have text 4. And text 4 is literally just sample text. So let's do text 4 dot includes. We'll do text 4 dot includes sample. So console log that. Oops. Console log. Text 4 dot includes sample. We'll start with that, and then let's do some more examples. So let's try a lowercase maybe, and maybe what happens if we pass in something that's not a string. So uppercase but not a string. What else? Maybe a single, like uppercase T. Emoji. We can try it, see if it'll take it in. So we'll do the, okay, we'll pass in the smiley face again. Actually, wait, let me do this first. All right. We have it, so there's no reason not to use it. All right, we'll try that. Okay, let's try these so far and see what we get. That's a good start. All right, save and run. Oh, and I forgot. I always do that. Forgot to comment that out. Save. Okay. Do it again. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. So first one is true, as expected. It includes sample. The second one is returns false, as expected, because again, it's case sensitive. So we get lowercase there. Now the third one, yeah, it says sample is not defined because it's not a string. Okay. So let's comment that one out and see what we get for the next one here. True, false, true. Okay, that makes sense because it's a capital T. Ah, look at that. So it took in that emoji and it looked to see if our text contained that emoji, and it does not, so it returned false. It's the only emoji code we know. Got to use that one. Yeah, got to use what you know, right? Absolutely. Okay, nice. Anything else we want to try? I feel like this one is. Can I add the emoji to the text? Yeah, we can do that. So like, drop it in here. Okay, yeah. Oh, and I also want to do this. Let's do this. Let's do text for. All right, just adding an additional there. Thank you for the follow, Jackman V. Oh, posture check. Oh, thank you. Gotta have good posture. I found that standing up does help me stay standing up straighter so I don't slump. Can I add the, yep, we added the emoji there. And so I printed it and then it also recognized that it's present in the text. We can also use string from code point. Okay, we can try that too. So I'll just add that to the sample text. So like that, I suppose. Thank you for the follow, Real Human. Save that and run it. It's a kitty. So that worked too. Nice. Sample text, smiley face, kitty, true. Thank you, Strain. Yes, I do. I do appreciate the kitty. Thank you. Um, BSL says I need a standing desk. Yeah. So actually, and my standing desk is not. I wish I could show you like a picture of it, but I don't want to mess up my camera placement. Um, my standing desk is not a real standing desk. It's a table from IKEA, like one of those really cheap tables. Except the only thing about it is it's got extendable legs, so like you can rotate the legs to make it taller. Um, and so that's really what that's my standing desk. It was not expensive. It's like a $30 table, um, and you don't got to pay the big bucks for one of those really fancy standing desks. Um, you can just make do like I have here. And my monitor is on a is on an old is on a bin full of like I don't know. I don't even know what's in here. Like papers and stuff. I don't even know what's in here, but it's just on a storage. My monitor is resting on a storage bin full of papers. It's adjustable, so I can raise it up and down. Um, and so I've got in my other monitor, the one that I look at chat on. So I have two monitors. One that you see, and then the other one that I use for stream controls. And that one's actually sitting on top of another desk uh, that has my tower on it, and then the monitor is on top of the tower. So it's a very low cost setup, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I've one from Uplift. Yeah, I mean those Uplift ones are really great. I just know that they can be kind of expensive, and so if you're looking for a cheap solution, just get a table with adjustable legs from IKEA, and put and stack stuff on top of it until things are the right height. 10 out of 10 setup. Yeah. Pennies to weight it down. Yeah. Like I say, I mean, it's this super cheap IKEA table, didn't cost anything. And that let me experiment with my setup a little bit without feeling like like I, dumped a few $100 on just a desk and that I couldn't, customize it anymore. Yours, your desk is huge, Tucker. Is that what you're saying? You got a big desk, 80 by 30. I think Uplift is the most expensive brand out of all of them. Yeah, when I've looked in the past, it seems like Uplift is fairly expensive. I mean, I know they're very good quality, but um, you can, you can even get sort of manual standing desks that have like a lever that you pull in order to raise it up and down, or a thing that goes on top of your existing desk, where you just set your monitors on top of it and it raises up and down. It's expensive. I splurged. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to do that. I really want to attach my monitors to the wall to save space. Yeah. Um, so I don't have that right now, but that's one of the things I want to do is get some of those swing arms, monitor swing arms, um, to to free up desk space. Because yeah, monitor stands. If you leave the monitors on their stand, they can really take up a lot of real estate, right? Pull the lever, wrong lever. Yeah. Attach mine to the desk. Yeah, if you can, attach the monitor arms or the monitor itself directly to the desk, you can save a lot of space that way too. So yeah, if you don't want to attach them to the wall, there's a lot of great monitor arms out there that screw into your desk or even just sort of like clamp themselves to your desk, um, and you can have your monitors be floating that way. I've used that setup at a previous job, not at my current job, but my current job is not gonna splurge on monitor swing arms, but um, yeah, I had a previous job that was a little fast and loose with their budgeting. They gave me swing monitor arms, a standing desk thingy, um, and so yeah, that was nice to have. Monitor arms that clamp are relatively inexpensive. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And if you can swing it, no pun intended, you can get your employer to pay for things that that make sense ergonomically. So I'm sure if I asked, I could probably get swing arms for monitors. But this is my personal setup, so I'm not going to ask for that from work. But I'm going to go the easy route and use some PIM particles, shrink things down. Yeah. I have one of those big plastic ice cream tubs. Fits the base of my monitor perfectly. Yeah, I mean the plastic storage bin that I'm using fits the base of my monitor perfectly too. Absolutely, it's great. I need to upgrade my setup so bad. My space key just popped off my MacBook. Oh no. Yeah. And so, like I say, I mean, once you do get your dev job, definitely see about your employer. That see about their ergonomics program. A lot of employers will have some kind of an ergonomics uh, like reimbursement program or guidelines that they'll help you find ergonomic things to help you do your work more comfortably and stay healthy while you're doing your work. So my employer, I've said this before, but I was having like really bad pains in my hand just because I was using the mouse so often. And I went to doctors, I went to specialists. I spent way too much money at specialists with them telling me that they didn't know what to do and that they couldn't find anything wrong. While I had shooting pains in my thumb and my middle finger, I wore a brace, I wore a thumb brace, I wore a carpal tunnel brace. It didn't do anything. And what fixed it was actually getting an ergonomic mouse, a vertical mouse. So instead of holding my hand like this when you use the mouse, um, you hold your hand vertically like this. And so, sorry, there's a sound. Sounds. It's about time for a break anyway. Um, so yeah, you hold your hand vertically like this, and it absolutely fixed all of my wrist pain. Spooky, yeah. So what I think it is yeah, I think I know what it is. There was I saw evidence of of potentially of there being a mouse in my kitchen, and so I set out a non-lethal trap, and I think that the trap may have sprung. So during the break, I will go check out that situation. I need to also get myself a vertical mouse. Yeah, no, it really does help. If you're having hand pain when you're using your mouse, check out a vertical mouse. Mine was so the one that I got that my employer reimbursed me for um, was it was $100, so it wasn't cheap. But um, what I was able to get when I directed people to a vertical mouse later, I found that Logitech actually came out with a cheaper version, and so I think they're about $60. So they're much cheaper now than they used to be. Yeah, I would recommend Logitech. Mine was I love mine. I've had it for over a year now. And then the newer version, the cheaper version that they came out with, I think is pretty good too. I have cats, yeah, but they stay in a separate room, so they aren't allowed in the kitchen. I think it did work. Well, I'll see in a minute. I started doing those stretching exercises Leon suggested when I started getting wrist issues. Yeah, definitely do those too. Stretch your wrists, exercise your wrists. Yeah. Yeah, and Nabby Neb says, I got a cheap vertical mouse when I was having constant pain, and now it's all gone. I got a cheap one too, so definitely recommend. Yeah, Nabby Nabs, absolutely. Me, same here. I mean, my pain went away within a week after I started using a vertical, and I'd been in pain for months and seen so many doctors and so many like specialists, and they were just like, "You don't see anything wrong," and I'm like, "Yeah, but ow." The $60 one, Tucker says the $60 one is what I have. They make a left-handed version. Yeah, they do, and that's the cool part is if you're a lefty, they make one for you too. Oh, and Nabby says mine is multi-laser. Ooh, fancy. Popular brand, costs about $30. Awesome, yeah. So if you're not in the U.S., you can definitely find other options too. Okay, let's go ahead and take a break. I'm going to go check out my potential mouse situation. Literal mouse, not computer mouse. And then when we come back, we'll do a few more. All right. Let's see. Where did my timer go? Did I close the timer? No, I didn't. It's right over here. Okay. All right. See you back here in 5. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what happens. All right, folks, come on back. Come on back. We've got about a minute left in the break. I can share with you my daring tale of the hunt. No worries, Ama, Alyssa. Thank you for stopping in. Go clean your kitchen. Make sure there's no mice. Yes. Meanwhile, my dog was no help at all. He's snoozing on the comfy couch, not paying any attention. I will tell you in just a second, as soon as the break's over. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the timer. Okay, yes, I caught the mouse. Well, the trap caught the mouse. Yeah, got him. Indeed, yes, we got him. And it was not a so non-lethal trap. And so I'm gonna release the mouse in a safe location that's far away from me, uh, before bed. So, yep, got it. It's a big one. And so I'm glad it's not in my kitchen anymore. So my house is fairly old by American standards. I know that means nothing to Europeans. My house is somewhat old by American standards, and it is so it has vulnerabilities to that sort of thing. So it's just something you got to deal with now and then. Hey, welcome, Yoni Carlson. I'm fine. How are you doing today? No, no pet mouse. I've had pet rats, but they're wild mice are different. So yep. So it feels much better to have that taken care of. Mice are like the mob, yeah. Well, and the previous owner of my house tended to, so the person who owned my house previously tended to store food in non-secure places. So places where it shouldn't have been stored and in improper packaging. And so the mice had a field day. So I don't have near that problem anymore, but it took some cleanup when I first moved in. How is Rascal says, why don't I just update my house package to the newest version, right? Yeah, why can't we just do that? I don't know. I gotta say, older construction is much more sturdy than modern construction, in my opinion, but just my opinion. Okay, so let's get back to it. I feel successful now. I feel accomplished in more ways than one now. We're getting through these string methods, and I caught a mouse. So go me. Go us. All right. NPM hot NPMI hot tub. Yeah, exactly. If only it were that easy. Yeah, every time I try to add a feature to my house, instead of additional packages and things being installed, my wallet just gets smaller. Like, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's like the inverse of what should happen. Every time I try to add a feature, my wallet just shrinks. House includes mouse equals false. Yeah. Perfect. I think we solved it. Okay. All right. So next one is let's see. I want to probably wrap things up around 10 p.m. Eastern. So in about 40 minutes. So we can try to get through one or two more of these. Why cats? Why cats and the stay? Not sure I understand the question. Maybe can you try asking that again? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm following the question. Why cats? The mice. Are you asking why the cats don't catch the mice? Oh. Okay. I think I get it. Okay. Well, because they are just kittens, and so yeah. So they stay in they stay in a room by themselves, and because my dog doesn't necessarily interact know how to interact properly with kittens, and so they stay in their own little room by themselves. Obviously with me, interacting with them. But yeah, they stay in a room, and so they don't get the run of the house. Which, knowing how kittens can squeeze themselves into small places, that probably wouldn't be a good idea anyway. I bet that room is it is the room that room is mouse free. Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's a deterrent. Okay, so index of. Um, this gets my vote for using the name a kitchen feature. So, what does index of do for us? What do we use index of for? If we don't know, that's fine. We can always search it up. All right, let's look in the docs. So MDN JS, and we're going to do index of, string index of, to be specific. String. So we look for the specific string designator to make sure that we're getting the right one. And that's a good that's a good guess, Matt. But we're actually looking at string methods here specifically, and not arrays. So we know that some of these things can be used for both strings and arrays, right? But in this case, we want to look specifically for string methods. So that's what we're going to look up here. But yeah, you're right. Some of these things can be used for both. No, that's fine. That's totally fine, Matt. And that's a reasonable assumption to make. Because a lot of times when we talk about index values, we're talking about arrays. But here we're focusing on strings. So, all right, index of method, given one argument, so a substring to search for, searches the entire calling string and returns the index of the first occurrence of the specified substring. Given a second argument, a number, the method returns the first occurrence of the specified substring at an index greater than or equal to the specified number. Okay. So essentially what they're saying is, so it's kind of similar to includes, right? So again, we take in a string as an argument, and we check to see, takes in a, so we can use this as starters. So it takes in a string as an argument, and searches the calling string for an occurrence of the search string, returns the index value of the first occurrence. Can take a second optional argument to start at a specific index within the calling string. Yeah. So here they give an example, right? So they give a sample sentence of the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and if the dog barked, was it really lazy? So the search term here is dog, but there's multiple occurrences of the word dog in the string. Whoa, CM Griffin, thank you so much for the raid. Wow. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Always good to see CM Griffin. If you've not checked out their stream, please do. I should be able to shout them out here. Shout out. Make sure I follow it right here, or spell it right here. See if that works. Hey, all right. So yeah, they are a super cool coder. They do a lot of fun projects, and they're also, super entertaining anyway. So yeah, be sure to check out their next stream. Thank you so much for the raid once again. Good music. Yeah, they do. They play some Yeah, they play some bangers as for on their as their backing tracks on their stream. Welcome. And so all we're doing today is nothing super spectacular. We're doing a little bit of review. So some of our homework for 100 devs, which we are most of us here are involved in. So exclamation point Leon, Leon, in chat if you want to learn more. We're learning web development, but today we're doing a little bit of review. So we've done a lot of work, building full stack apps and using React and doing all this complex stuff. And so we're doing a little bit back to basics and going over some string methods, um, doing some examples, and just making sure that we remain that we continue to have a solid grasp of the fundamentals, and we don't ignore the fundamentals in favor of the complex stuff. So just doing a little bit of review today of some string methods and just kind of talking about whatever we want to talk about. So we talked a little bit about SQL, a little bit about working in tech, a little bit about ergonomics, staying healthy while we're coding, and not, permanently injuring ourselves. Uh, so yeah, we talked about a little bit of everything. So feel free to ask questions. I'm learning web development, but I'm actually a SQL developer, so I'm happy to answer questions about that or anything you have questions about. Welcome again. Welcome to everybody from CM Griffing's channel. Yeah, great. That's right. Yeah, they do have great synth on their stream. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I also caught a mouse. Not on camera, but yeah, during the last break, I caught a mouse. So go me. I didn't kill it. It's just captured. Yeah, I am a mighty hunter. With my bare hands. No. Yeah, there was I was seeing some evidence that there may have been a mouse living behind my stove, and so I had a live trap set out, and I heard it shut. It scared the crud out of me when it shut in my kitchen, because I'm alone in my house right now except for my dog, which is right there beside me, and so I heard a noise in my kitchen, and I was like, what the heck. But it was just the trap, and so I saw the fruits of my labor over the break, and I will take care of that once I end the stream here. Mine versus mouse was the non-violent battle of the century. Yeah, right. It is truly Huntober. Yes, it is. We could not say that we were fully in Huntober until we actually hunted something, right? And so now with that accomplished, I think we can truly say we are participating in Huntober. Need better dog. Yeah, he's a total softie. He has a big bark, but he's a wuss. I love him, but he's a wuss. SQL developer by day, but at night, yeah. Huntober is not, yeah. Leon's gonna have to specify that Huntober is not literal. Don't literally go out and hunt live animals. The trap made a pull request. Y'all are funny. All right, so looking at index of, I'm assuming it's going to work similar to includes, and that it's going to, search each character in the string starting from the from the what is it? What is that second argument called? Position from the position position argument if provided. And essentially, I think, so it's going to look for that, and it's going to return each candidate value that matches the search string, and if a full match is found, return the index value of the first. See, it's going to be it'll be the index value of the first letter. Index of the second, let's see, index of the first dog from the beginning is 40. So it's probably, I think it's going to return the location of the first instance of that search term. So yeah, I mean, that looks like about 40. Yeah, and it's going to stop after it finds the first one, and it's going to return that index value. Yep. Yeah, that's true, Rascal. Right. We already saw that. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. So we already saw previously that the includes method, if we look at the ECMAScript specification, includes actually depends on index of. So of course they're going to work the same. Yeah, 100%. Hey, Profits TV, welcome. How's your day going? GG on the spec actually having some dry code. Yeah, having these, having these things depend on each other but have slightly different functionality. Yeah. How goes the coding? Oh, pretty good. We're having a chill stream today. Normally I do projects. Normally I do, larger kind of projects or specific have specific objectives, things to complete, that kind of thing. But today we're doing a chill stream. We're just going over some string methods and talking about how they work, what they do, kind of reminding ourselves of the fundamentals a little bit. So, and we're also just talking about whatever we want. So, if anybody has questions about anything, feel free to ask. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so let's try some examples. So I assume it's going to kind of work similar to include. So let's grab some of the same things that we tested with include. So some of the things that we tested with included some emojis. So we'll test our emojis again. And I'm going to revise my my sample text here. To have some repetition, because right now it really doesn't. So let's do, we'll make these all text 5. I'm just going to change this up a little bit. Text 5, text 5. And we'll change it from, includes to index of. All right. And let's add a little bit of repetition. So we've got the word sample text and a few emoji, and because emojis are fun, I could use template literals, but I'm feeling lazy. So we'll repeat the word sample and we'll repeat the word text. All right. So let's look for, again, we'll look for uppercase sample. We'll look for lowercase. We'll look for just a letter T. We'll look for an emoji. Feel free to suggest any other things you'd like me to test for here when we do our examples. I'm going to comment this out. Otherwise, we can just run these and see what happens. A space? Yeah, let's do a space. Sure. All right. So 6 will be just a space. And let's also do an empty string too. And another one too. We haven't really used that second argument, right? So there is an optional second argument that we could potentially pass in. So let's do the T again. Oh, and this should be 7. Let's do the T again. But we'll also pass in that second argument and say that it's going to need to start at, let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's start at like 10. So what I'm expecting is that it'll return the index for this one at the very end. And Strain says, be interested to see if any of the escape text shows up. So like the 00. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it treats some of these special things that we're passing in, which this is code for emojis. So a smiley face, and this is another way of invoking an emoji where we return a little cat face. So let's just see how it treats them. All right. Okay. So what? Ooh, okay. What do we get here? All right. So sample is the first word, and the first character of the first word of sample starts at index 0. So that returned index 0, as we thought it, that makes sense what it did there. The second thing we passed in was lowercase sample, and that's not found, right? That doesn't exist. So that returns -1 because it can't return an index of something that's not in the string. So we know how that behaves. That returns a -1 for us. And then, so we skip 3. And then, so 4 returns index 7. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that makes sense. It's the first occurrence of a capital T. And then I forgot I was also console logging the text5 value, but so you get to see the emojis that we're passing in here, and that returns index 12. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so the start of that emoji is at 12. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's look at what's this next one. So 6 is index of space, and so that returns the first space right there. 7, so index of empty string is at 0. Interesting. So if we pass in an empty string, that says the first occurrence is at index 0. So that's just one of those little behavioral quirks that, it doesn't return -1. It just it treats it as being it treats an empty string as being at index 0. Nice. Okay, and the next one, so we essentially, what we did here is we used the second argument to stop it from returning this first T. What I wanted it to do was return the second T. So it said that was at index 22. So I'm going to do a little counting here and say, all right, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it looks like, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's not treating these as individual characters, right? When we pass these in, it's not treating them as individual characters. I wonder how much space that's actually taking up. I think it looks like it's just taking up 1. Because those are immediately translating themselves into emojis. But let's see. So let's see. This is 22, 21, 20, 19. It's not counting the pluses. So let's see. 22, 21, 20. And then assuming this is 1, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it's treating those as just taking up a single space, which I guess makes sense. It's just interesting to see when you pass these in, that's not, that's not the amount of, that's not the length that they're treated as. Do a dot length. Yeah, I should. That's a good point. Console log text5 dot length. Okay, let's try that. That's better than me counting things. No. I appreciate the suggestion. All right, clear the console. All right, so it says it's 26. It says it has a length of 26. Yeah. So that looks about right. Yep, it only has a length of 26 despite all this extra crud that we passed in. 1, 2, 8, 5, 6, 8, and this fairly long set of characters to produce the smiley face emoji. Okay, good to know. Yeah, so good test. Looking to see, make sure I didn't miss any other things that people wanted me to test. No, that's interesting. Some of that behavior is interesting. You know, the fact that passing an empty string, it returns 0, doesn't exist, returns -1. Hey, try. Oh, okay. So we've got try Vanilla JS has just joined. Well, I think you'll like this stream. We do a lot of Vanilla JS. We don't do a lot of fancy stuff here. Um, we do a lot of Vanilla JS, and you know, we're kind of just here on this stream. We're learning to be web developers, and today we're just practicing some fundamentals. We're pretty good already at building full stack apps, but it's good to go back to basics a little bit, and so that's what we're doing tonight. And Rascal says, you know, we were talking about um, the what you input compared to the output length of characters, and um, Rascal says, just like how /n is physically 2 characters, but actually 1 character, which is a new line. Yeah. And Try Vanilla JS says, don't tell anyone, but I write mostly Python and TypeScript these days. That's awesome. You lied to us. We got indeed. It makes sense. Otherwise, you'd be named Use Vanilla. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, it does make sense. Yep. Welcome to the stream. We're a pretty good bunch. All right, let's try to do at least one more. We'll do at least one more before we wrap up for the evening. So let's go ahead and do match. Move on to match. I'm going to comment these out first. All right. So what does match do for us? What does the string method match do? And if we don't know, that's okay. We can always look it up. If we don't know off the top of our heads, that's why we have documentation, so that we can search in the documentation. Yeah, we'll just keep it. We'll keep it between all 180 of us. Yeah. Oh, it's a reference to an old Web 1.0 meme. Wow. Referencing the deep magics, indeed. Matches a string. So we got a few guesses there. Matches a string against a regex. Okay, well, yeah, let's look it up. Let's look it up. All right, so MD, we're looking in the MDN, looking for a string and match. Okay. So the match method retrieves the result of matching a string against a regular expression. Okay. So previously, you know, in the other methods that we were using, such as includes and index of, we couldn't use regex. But here with match, we can use regex to match a string against a regular expression. So a lot of us here haven't used much regex by design, but it is something that you can do. Those were the times when jQuery was considered too advanced of a framework. Yeah. Okay, so here in this example, they pass in the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. It barked. Ooh, they got some. So the copy editor in me is cringing a little bit at this series of sentences, but okay. Got some tense issues there. So and then they set out some regex, and they do a quick match and return the result as found. So then the output there is an array containing T and I, because it's looking for uppercase characters, in which in this case are the T and the I. Lorem ipsum indeed. Okay, so let's see. If anybody has some, so essentially this seems fairly straightforward, right? So pass in, let's see, let's do this. Takes a regular expression as an argument and matches it against the calling string. Returns an array of all matching values. I use Parasocial says, I used regex just yesterday. I haven't been writing Python in years. Oh, intelligence. So intelligence redeemed the foster kitten cam. So intelligence, we already did a foster kitten cam during this stream. You're welcome. You can always rewind the VOD to see that. However, I'm going to honor your redemption for next stream, and we'll do another foster kitten cam. No, you're fine, intelligence. That's okay. We can honor that during the next stream, and we can do. So you got to see one foster kitten for this stream. So maybe we'll do a double kitten, double kitten cam for the next stream to honor intelligence's redemption there. Because they all have names now, so they're celebrities. You got to show them off. Yeah. And for those of you who are new from the stream, who may have come from CM Griffing's channel from that raid, thank you again. I foster kittens for the Humane Society, and so some of my channel points redemptions do involve showing the foster kittens on camera here, after breaks, and potentially even naming a foster kitten once you have enough points. So several people have done that. All of my foster kittens that I have now have actually been named by my Twitch chat. So it's great because it saves me from having to think up names. Matt says in ETL, it's the full-time job doing regex, I assume. Yeah, so I mean, I do ETL, and I've had to do several instances of regex. Generally, what I do is I just kind of Google the specific regex like that I'm looking for to accomplish what I need. I really don't save any brain space to memorize it. What are the cats' names? Well, as named by Twitch chat, the cats' names are Fig, Oreo, and Arya. So like Arya from Game of Thrones. So yeah, Fig, Oreo, and Arya. Which actually really rolls off the tongue now that I say it. Training a cat JavaScript army, aren't you? Well, I will say that that they can probably hear me through the wall, so they get a good coding education just through osmosis. I like regex, but I keep it to myself. Yeah, so Arya is spelled like Game of Thrones, so Arya. Yeah. Nico, indeed, yes. Okay. So match takes a regular expression as an argument and matches it against the calling string, returns an array of all matching values. So as far as how it works, let's see, it says it calls the symbol.match method of the argument with the string as the first parameter. The actual implementation comes from regex prototype match. Okay, let's look at the ECMAS. Let's look at the specification here. Oh boy. This method is called internally by string prototype match. Here they're doing a match against they're doing a match against an emoji. So the documentation is after my own heart. I love it. They're literally doing an emoji match. We're gonna have to do that one. Actually, I'm just gonna grab this. We need to run this one. Yeah. We're gonna run both of these. We're gonna run both of these actually, just directly. Okay, now let's look at the ECMA language specification here. Oh boy. Let's see. So return, okay, so it's basically just saying, all right, check it, it's telling it whether to check it for full Unicode, true or false, um, creates an array for the output, sets a results, and if there is a result of some kind, return the array. Get the result, convert it to a string. So essentially just grab each match and dump it into an array and return it. That's specification documents for you. Yeah. Oh, there's also regexer. Okay. I'll have to check those out, Parasocial. That might be helpful. Exactly what the world needs, cat coders. Yeah, so this is a lot. But essentially I think what it's doing is it's calling, so we can probably just say that um, it's calling this prototype. Okay, so it's calling that. And returns each matching value. Um, sorry, creates an array and returns each matching value as a returns each matching string as a string within the array. There are tools for English to regex and regex to English. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I find myself normally doing is, just kind of Googling the specific regex action that I want to take at that time, and then copying whatever, you know, whatever Stack Overflow or whatever tells me is the correct answer. But I should look at a few of those tools. It's not something that I do necessarily every day, so I don't find myself using it a lot. But knowing some dedicated tools is always a good thing. I wish we had those in my day. Yeah. And Mavi says, I have a regex expression checker in the web dev repo. Oh, hey, might check that too. Matt, what do you need an answer to? I guess maybe I missed your question. So, but I do want to run a couple of these examples here against these emojis just to see what happens. Rascal says, if it's something I think has been done, I yoink it from Stack Overflow. Yeah. But now I just copy the sample text into regex 101 and might write my regex in the box until it works. Yeah. What's the return here if no match is found? Oh, there it is, null. Yeah. So, well, let's try it. We can do that as a so we can just we can pass in like an empty string and just see what happens. So, actually, here, what I'm going to do is this. Do that, and then that should return no match. Dang, whippersnapper. Well, let's see what we get, because so there'll be no match here, regardless of what this is. If I pass in an empty string, there should be no match. So, and Somebody else give me some. So let's do some more checks against our sample text here. So all you regex people out there, give me some things to test against. So we'll do we'll do actually no, we'll just do text6.match. There's actually ancient Stack Overflow answered the question about why you can't do everything with regex. My favorite Stack Overflow of all time was somebody asking how to quit Vim, which is the best thing I've ever seen. Um, yeah, and all we're doing here is we're just running test cases. This code isn't gonna. It's not. This is not a project that we're publishing or anything like that. We're playing around and we're seeing how these things behave in certain edge cases, right? So sometimes the best way to get a feel for how something is going to work when you use it in a real project is to play around and pass random junk into it and see what it does. So somebody give me some regex here to plonk into to let's test some more different things. So I'm gonna farm it out to you guys. What else should we check against here? So if I'm checking against text 6, which is sample text, I can check against other things, but give me some inspiration here. What else should we check against? I can just check against these four for now while y'all think about it. All right, let's run. Okay, so here, this returned as expected. So those two return the expected values. Now this one returned just an empty array, which is that's a bit interesting. Okay, we'll check that. So we're gonna match against text 6 here. Oops, sorry. Okay, doesn't look like it likes that, but we'll try it. Oh, extra. No, that's not extra parentheses. Does this need to be in a string? Nope. What am I doing wrong here? Mavi, what am I doing wrong with this expression here? Starting in, okay, forgot the slashes. There we go. Hey, nice. Invalid regex, okay. Invalid group. So something is wrong with the grouping. I think probably maybe the location of the slashes. Like I said, I don't use regex enough to know, honestly. Included one extra parenthesis, so okay. Oh, there it is. Yep, got it. I hate escaping. You can't escape. Yeah. All right. Oh, did I not? No, I saved it. Okay, still says invalid. Okay, maybe we'll try a different one. Oh, I deleted it. Now I need to add it after the slash. Oh, here. Okay. So just in the wrong location. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Still doesn't like it. Invalid Reddit. Okay, maybe we'll try a simpler one. Yeah, I'll try the one that Nabby Nabs here dropped in. This. Okay, I'm still doing something wrong. Not sure what it is, but we'll figure it out. Invalid regex. So my format here looks like it matches what's up here. But if anybody sees what I'm doing wrong, do let me know. Okay, match capitalized words. We can try that one. That's the one that's in the documents anyway. So we know that one will work. So if we go back to the, well, I remember that. Yeah, that one was in the documents. So that'll work. All right. Regex, my nemesis, we meet again. Yeah. Input sample text, sample index 0. Okay. Interesting. Wasn't quite expecting that, but that's fun. So sample, okay, let's try this. Let me do index match. I wonder if that's just a feature of the way this console logs things. Wasn't expecting that. Okay. Let me look at this again. Just grab whatever's in here. We're gonna do this one. Directly from the docs. It's similar, but not quite. All right. Okay, let's do that. Directly from the docs. Hey, okay. There's something that we recognize. Nice. And we can do the, theoretically, if I make these lowercase, right, that'll do the lowercase ones as well. Oh, I'm going to make that a separate example. Let's do this. All right, lowercase maybe. See if that works. Hey, hold up. You made it. Yeah, we're just about done, but we're enjoying the joys and sadness of regex. Just to test the match function is all, or match method. Yeah, okay. So here we return the capitals, and here we returned the lowercase. So this is literally just the opposite, right? AMPLE, and then missing the capital T, EXT. Okay, cool. Olaf says, "Oh no, not regex. I'll make sure to watch the VOD." Nah, we just wanted to have enough of it in order to test passing some things into the match method, because one of the string methods that we're supposed to be looking at and learning more about is match, and so match works with regex, and so that's what we were playing around with here with mixed success because none of us are very good at regex. I mean, like we were saying, a lot of the times if we need to know a particular regular expression, you just go to Google and you say, I want to do, such and such. Or a few people were sharing some useful tools and, various websites that can help you do regex without you having to memorize it, which is very helpful. So I think that's good. And as we can tell, if the regex has the global flag, it returns all matches as strings. Otherwise, the raw regex gives you an object. Yeah, so we saw that if we take the global flag off, like this, then it gives you something completely different, like this, right? It tries to give you, tries to return an object. So we want to have that G global flag to get more of what we're expecting. First time I came across regex was in a elite style Code Wars solution. Legend has it I'm still rolling my eyes. You can return the spaces too by doing all that are not capitals. Text 6 match. Okay, let's try that string. Last one. Oops. Okay, console log that. Okay. Oh, yep, and that included the space as well. And I've actually used that one. Grabbing the space, and that's interesting. It returned all the lowercase, including the space. Didn't put it in Anki because of regex. Yeah, right. Use that in the Blah's Huntober challenge. Oh, okay. I haven't looked at today's challenge yet, so haven't. So yeah, I need to look at today's challenge to see what it is. Perfect timing, since the only fundamental AQs I have left are the regex ones. Yeah, are there any that actually make you solve it using regex? Yeah, definitely check it out, piece of shoot. I think you would really enjoy it. The Blah's Huntober challenge. Essentially, it's a bunch of challenges that stack on. It's a bunch of challenges that stack on top of each other to solve a riddle. So I think you'd enjoy it. Um, oh, Charlie, you just finished all 5 days. Nice, good job. Okay, so we made it through. How many did we make it through? We made it through one, two, three, four, five, six. And we made it through six of them. Okay, so that's a third. There's 15. We made it through six. And we definitely took our time, which is good. Um, that's not a bad thing. So I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Um, normally I do, I'm kind of known for long streams, but lately I'm trying to be kinder to myself and make sure that I go to bed at a reasonable hour and get a good amount of sleep. And so that's my personal goal for the time being, is to, uh, wrap things up so that I'm able to go to bed and wake up refreshed for work tomorrow. So I think that's what we're going to do. Um, oh, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, this week is streams. Yeah, so definitely check out Blah's Huntober Twitter. Follow those challenges. They're pretty fun. From what I've looked at so far, I need to catch up, but they look pretty fun. So definitely give them a follow. Um, piece of shoot. Did you see Leon's update? Leon's updated announcement regarding Huntober? I think that might make you feel better if you haven't seen that. I know that last class was a little bit of a bummer, but be sure to check out the follow along materials channel because I think you might appreciate the update. Um, and that's it. So yeah, before we end here, um, if you attended, Tuesday's class, there was there was a lot of anxiety and a lot of uncertainty from a lot of folks that maybe weren't sure if they were able to get into Huntober or felt like they didn't make the cut or that kind of thing. And so um, after class, Leon took that feedback um, and he revised Huntober so that no one is going to miss out now on any of the Huntober content. None of it will be locked behind any kind of barriers. Um, and everyone is now eligible for uh, eventually eligible for a confirmation or certification letter from Leon, whatever you want to call it, reference letter from Leon. Once you get everything done, it'll be a rolling certification. So as soon as you're done, you submit the form and you get your confirmation. And again, no content will be locked behind any kind of barriers from Leon. And so everybody will be able to participate in all the Huntober content. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. If anybody has lingering anxiety or uncertainty, you are not missing out on anything. And all the certifications will just be rolling whenever you get your stuff done is when you get it done. Respect my sleep. Yeah. One's like regex basics. It could be a rebel and yeah, self care, absolutely. Oh, and Ryan shared the link to Blah's Huntober Twitter channel, so feel free to click that and go give them a follow. Oh, thank you, Sarada. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, Trinae. No, I mean, I honestly think Leon had a different sort of vision for Huntober originally. He just didn't quite realize how people felt, how, how people would feel when the time came. And I think that everybody's feelings are completely valid and understandable. And I was feeling pretty bummed for a lot of the folks that I know on Discord that I felt deserved to be in Huntober and get access to that content. And that weren't going to have access to that content. And so I really think Leon made the right choice here. Um, and I think it's really, helped a lot of people get more energy to keep going and keep pushing. And I know I'm gonna enjoy having access to the content because I wasn't doing Huntober. I didn't do all the things, um, so I'm gonna enjoy that content as well. Yeah, you'll get past the piece of shoot, I'm sure. Just because if you didn't reach some sort of arbitrary deadline, that doesn't invalidate all the work that you've done so far. And seeing you here in chat, piece of shoot, I know you have tremendous knowledge, and I'm sure you're gonna be great. You are great. You're just gonna keep getting better. Yeah, daily stand-ups, that's good stuff. Focusing on stuff, yeah, it helps with your focus. Well, Matt Whalahan, if you got to put in work to be kind, that's like a muscle. You can strengthen it. I'm sure you'll get there. Lit a fire under our butts. Yep. Yeah. And I'm sure it'll be rough. I'm sure there'll be bumps, but I'm just glad that all of us get the chance to experience that content. All the folks that are putting in the work so far, and even the ones that aren't, it's still worth it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we can all be respectful, to Leon and the work he's put in, and experience this together and work through all the bumps together and figure it out as we go. Yep. Nobody's ever done this before, and nobody has ever done um, the kind of free education and the kind of free outreach that Leon is doing, um, and the kind of free, job assistance and employment assistance and help that Leon is doing. And so I think we can all feel honored that we are the guinea pigs. This is the way, indeed. All right, I think I will leave you on that note. As always, follow me on Twitter for updates on my streams and on my schedule. Also, keep an eye on the Discord for the ongoing Huntober activities. Keep an eye on Blaw's Twitter, the Huntober Twitter account for updates on that. Check out my YouTube channel. I'll be posting some of my streams. Will be moving to the YouTube channel here in the next day or so. I just need to do some processing and editing on those, and then I will have those up on YouTube for you. Um, and yeah, I think since the super review is happening this Sunday, um, it's likely that I might do another Saturday stream. So keep an eye on my Twitter for that. We'll see. I want to ask Leon how long he thinks the end of the super review is going to be. Whether I stream on Sunday after the super review, or I do another Saturday stream. Because it's off my normal schedule, the Saturday streams don't tend to be as well attended. So I do prefer to stream on Sunday if I can. But we'll see how that goes. Again, follow me on Twitter for updates on my schedule. And yeah, as always, hit me up on Discord if you have questions, or yeah, because I'm here to help you all and here to learn with you all. So look forward to seeing you again for class on Thursday, and then potentially for a stream either on Saturday or on Sunday. All right, with that in mind, let's find someone to raid and spread the love, shall we? So I'm going to, as always, feel free to suggest if you have anyone specific you'd like me to rate. Otherwise, we will pick someone from the coding category. I'm getting there. 1 second. All right, so I'm only seeing a couple folks. We've got Midnight Simon and Team Bash. Oh, or Ian Douglas. They've rated me several times, and I don't know that I've ever rated them back. So if they're online right now, because yeah, they've rated me several times, I think. So I think, yeah, we definitely deserve, if they are online right now, we need to raid them back. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Let's do it. Um, they look like they're building something. I wonder what they're building. Are they building a Lego set? What are they? I need to know what they're building. Okay, we're rating them. He's building something, or they're building something interesting. So let's go see what they're building. Spread the love. Um, nice. They're building Legos just like I did. Let's see what they're building. Okay, here we go. Starting the raid now. All right, ready to raid in 3, 2, 1. See ya.